Gents, introduction to quadratic equations. Okay, so quadratic equation is one where the highest power of the unknown quantity is 2, i.e. x squared. Okay, there's two examples there. X squared minus 3x plus 1. If we plot it, we get that shape. Minus x squared, 2x squared plus 6x plus 2. We get that shape, other way up. So a negative first squared term gives us upside down. This curve is called a parabola. So you'll always get a parabolic shape from a quadratic equation. Okay, and solving a quadratic equation basically means finding the roots of that quadratic equation, and the roots are the values of x when y is equal to 0. So they're the values of x at these points. That's what finding the roots means. That's what solving them means. There are other situations where you might have a quadratic and a linear, and you want to find the points where they cross. Okay, so we'll probably be having a look at that as well. But essentially, for a straight parabola, quadratic equation, finding the roots means finding what value is x when y is equal to 0. When we look for roots, it's possible, we should have in mind that it's possible for a quadratic to have two real roots. 1, 2. It's possible for it to have one root where the parabola sits on top of the x-axis, or indeed it could be underneath the x-axis there and touching. And we can also have parabolas where there are no real roots, because the curve does not cross or touch the x-axis. That equation does have roots, but they are complex, and complex roots are beyond the scope of this module. Okay? So we won't be dealing with any situations where roots are complex. Okay. What happens if we multiply out the two brackets at the top? Yeah, well, we'll go through it together. What do we get? 2x squared and put that over here. Six x yeah, 2x times x is 2x squared, 1 times x is x, two x times minus 3 is minus 6x, 1 times minus 3 is minus 3, and we can bring the two middle terms together. 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. Yeah? Okay? There we go. Bit of trickery. So, the process of going from what we've just got from multiplying out the brackets through the reverse process of going from that to the two bracketed terms is called factorization. If we're going to solve the quadratic equation by factorization, we need to know how to do that process. Now, if this is the issue. If the equation can be easily factorized, then this can be the quickest way to find the roots. However, sometimes the factorization is not easy or impossible. In these cases, we'll use the formula method. More about that later. Okay? So, let's have a look at factorization. Because if we can factorize, then what we're saying is we can write that equation as those two factored also equal to 0. Now, this is a product of two factors. It's one factor of x multiplied by another factor of x. Can you all understand if I say that if that product is going to equal to 0, at least one of the two terms in that product must be equal to 0? Yeah? Otherwise that won't happen. So, what we can do is say, first of all, when 2x plus 1 is equal to 0, and then so we got 2x is equal to minus 1, x is equal to a minus a half. So that's one of the roots. And then when x is minus 3 is equal to 0, we can say x is equal to 3. Therefore, the two roots of that equation are x is minus a half or x is 3. So if we were to graph that function, that's going to be an upside down one, and that would be 3, and that would be minus a half there. Yeah, I think I got that the right way up. Go back and check. Yep, positive x term means up, open upwards. Yep. Okay, so if we can factorize, finding the roots is then relatively simple. Agreed? Because we just say one factor is equal to 0, rearrange it to find the one value of x, or whatever other variable name you might call it, okay? And then the other one, we end up with 2. We might only end up with 1, because we get the same value of x for both factors. So, let's have a look at solving these by factorization. X squared plus 2x minus 8 equals 0. We know that we're going to have two pairs of brackets equal to 0. And to multiply them out and get x squared, we must have x and x in those two positions. What we then want is two numbers that multiply to equal minus 8. Get that term. And add to make plus 2. To get the 2x. Well, let's have a look. What I tend to do is right over here, just note what the combinations are that multiplied together will give me minus 8. What combinations are there that will multiply to give minus 8? Minus 4 plus 2, minus 2 plus 4, 2 more, minus 1 plus 8, minus 8 and plus 1. So any one of those 4 would give us that minus 8 constant on the end, but which ones added together give us plus 2? Minus 2 and plus 4. So they're the other two numbers that go in here. And let's just look at that out. Times x is x minus times 4 is minus 8. Yeah? So that's factorised it. So now what we have to do is say x minus 2 is equal to 0. X is equal to 2. Add 2 to each side. X is equal to minus 4. So the factorization is easy. Then factorization method. Be quick. Yeah. B. Minus 4, 0. For me, to end up with 3x squared. Four possible combinations are right. We got the complication of a make a using one of those. 3, 12. Got to be when 3x minus 1 equals 0. And then when x minus 4 equals 0, x is equal. Yep. Yep. However, sometimes they're difficult and or impossible to find factors, and that's where the formula comes in. So, solving quadratic equations using the formula method. Quadratic standard form is ax squared plus c is equal to 0. Be found using the standard quadratic formula. We'll formula sheets for the right. Because formula told off for putting them in. So this 2 here is A, that minus 5 there is B, and that minus 3 B, which is minus 5. Make sure you minus 5 4 is 5 5 And that's one of the ones we did earlier, wasn't it? We had 3 and minus 1. We end up with one solution. 4AC is bigger than B squared. What's going to happen? And there's no root. Keep getting error. That'll be because got something wrong in there. Solve that using the formula method. So we got x squared plus 2x minus 8 equals 0. Well, both of these actually, there's A. So these are the two we've already done. Write that formula out every time you use it. Every time you write it, you're another step closer to committing it to memory, at least for the duration of this module. Minus 2. Plus or minus square root of 2 squared is 4 minus 4 times minus 8 minus 32 all over 2. I keep missing my minus signs off, don't I? I want to practice what I preach. Not recorded either. So we got our surface area now. That, and it equals, told us that it equals squared. Yeah. So we've got an expression for surface area. What do we need to do with that now? What? And actually that 0.82. Tell you what, let me. All we need to do that now, before we can use the formula method. What does the method require you to do? Minus. It requires this to be in a do from both sides. We've got to do equate to 0. With the square term here, because then that's in ABC. I'm pissing you off now, aren't I? I think we could do into the formula. But if we do this, still equals to 0. Yeah. So that cancels, that cancels. This becomes minus 1 over pi. So we r squared plus 0.82 r minus 1 over pi equals 0. Now we carefully plug the numbers into the formula. So we've got 0.82 plus or minus square root of 0.82 squared minus 4 times A is 1 times C minus 1 over pi all over 2. No, that's plus 1. You have to do